Elon is the biggest welfare queen on the planet. The internet is fed up with Elon Musk's hypocrisy. BuzzFeed. If NASA had the failure rate SpaceX does, Elon Musk would be firing everyone and Congress would be demanding to know where the money is going. Below are your comments. Just my opinion, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Musk is going after these government agencies because many of them regulate his businesses. Plus, if he gets rid of Social Security, that will save him millions of the payroll taxes he has to pay. Why? So it can be shown that much of his costs circa. See more. 00. His alternative facts are non-stop. I recall him saying the NTHSA recall on Teslas weren't recalls because they could send out an over-the-air download. Recalls are by definition safety issues, not how the repair is performed. Thought he was fined and told that he could not launch the SpaceX craft again until it was thorough. HLY researched as to why the first one blew up. I guess when he disbanded the department that fined him for the first one that he no longer had to follow that ruling. So I tried to dig for myself, to find out what's real and what's being spoon-fed to me. These numbers are freely available to everyone, you simply have to look. Telsa received $6.3 billion in U.S. subsidies. Trump favorite bad word. And another $250 million per quarter in battery tax credits. That's $7.3 billion total. Tesla made $7.1 billion in profit last year. 53% less than the year before. As a company, they paid zero if federal tax. Elon himself had his wealth increase by $213 billion last year. He said he expects to pay $11 billion in tax. If he were you or me, he'd have to pay $78.8 billion in tax. Even if he was taxed at the absolute lowest rate, he'd have to pay $21.3 billion. Does having 14 children decrease your tax by half? Who knew? So yes, I would definitely say Elon Musk is a welfare queen of the highest degree. With so much dependency on one person's companies, it should be considered a monopoly and a national security risk. Musk's companies have received $38 billion in federal funds and counting. Yet the same people who condemn government spending and preach self-reliance have no issue profiting when it serves their interests. Hypocrisy at its finest. Just remember, there's a reason Musk is going after government agencies that are investigating the SAFETY of his companies. Get rid of regulations, safety checks, and employees and he can move at breakneck speed while HIDing the bad stuff. Except it's hard to hide something like this one from the public eye. Just because it's private doesn't always mean better. I'm a fan of NASA and the post office. Just read an article about Voyager's IN-2 spacecraft made by the government workers at NASA. Made 47 years ago and still sailing through space, V1 is 15 billion miles from Earth and V2 is 13 billion miles from Earth. I guess those government workers know what they were doing. Both spacecraft will still be out there long after the Earth is gone. Elon, please reply to this message with a list of the 5 things that you have done today to prevent your products from exploding catastrophically and raining flaming debris on unsuspecting people below. Failure to respond will be assumed to be SpaceX's voluntary withdrawal from future consideration for government contracts. The sad part is the American taxpayer will pay the bill for these failures. If Musk was legit, he'd eat the cost, but we had to bail him out before. The United States House Committee on Oversight and Accountability should investigate Doge leadership for the appearance of conflict of interest. How much did this fiasco cost the American taxpayers? Maybe we shouldn't have fired the inspectors who were watching over SpaceX. I'm having so much fun reading these tweets, if it wasn't so sad on so many levels. Curious, does SpaceX pay restitution to the airlines, airports, or passengers for this disruption? Probably not. SpaceX has an employee injury rate that is 9 times higher than the average. His Doge employees got into the Department of Labor databases and found all the violations that OSHA had on him. I wonder how many of these people will be let go for poor performance. HMMN. And then a few days later Doge fired FDA employees, including those reviewing clinical trials for Neuralink. Seems to be a trend. Our votes have been bought. Musk needs to be sending every taxpayer a list of 5 things he's accomplished every week from now on. Failure to do so will be treated as the termination of all of his government contracts. In 2016, one of the large contracts Musk got with the government, he stated in getting the contract that he would have 2 supply vehicles going to the moon each month. But 2022. Guess he just happily forgot he broke what he stated when getting that contract. Beyond hilarious, really. This Musk miscreant is a total sham. There's no real cost cutting at all. Big ruse, absolutely zero shown to date. This Musk fraud is paid $8 million per day to cut off Medicare to retirees getting by on $65 per day. $2.04 billion annually. With our taxes to create fake lies about massive government waste to simply put his computer code in algorithms in the federal computer system to grift. His rockets fall out of the air about as much as his Tinker toy Tesla Rex struggle to start. There goes another cut to Medicare to pay for another rocket. And for his next trick, making our government, democracy and really our country go through an unplanned disassembly. It's what he's good at, I guess. This from the dude who wants to replace Verizon contract to upgrade aging air traffic control infrastructure with Starlink. Elon Musk comes from South Africa, a country where oppression and aggression shaped the culture of his generation and those before it. The same oppressive mindset is now reflected through ventures like Doge. Twitter is another example of his influence, as he silences voices opposing oppression. America has been led by courageous figures such as Washington, Lincoln, FDR, Truman, Kennedy, and O.T. Hers, who stood against oppression. Musk represents a departure from these values and should be viewed with caution. Musk just got a $400 million armored Tesla truck deal from Trump. He now wants the $2.4 billion FAA Verizon contract. I guess we should just make it easy and say that Musk gets all government contracts from now on. Anything he doesn't want, he can pass on to Jeff Bezos. For anybody else, this would be the end of their government contracts. Or would that be too efficient? All I can do is just laugh at the efficiency expert. Impossible. Elon is generationally wealthy, therefore he is a genius. He only makes the finest exploding rockets and satellites that routinely fall out of the sky. Rapid in scheduled assembly. That would be rapid in scheduled disassembly. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.